Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a classic, one you probably think you know really well, but trust me, we're going way beyond the bolts in the neck monster to explore the deep human tragedy underneath it all.
It's fascinating, actually, how the book itself, it's all letters and journal entries, right? It just pulls you straight into this world of um, huge ambition, scientific obsession, but also this profound loneliness. We start way up in the Arctic, I mean, freezing cold, miles from anywhere, with this explorer whose big dreams are about to crash into something truly horrifying.
Yeah, so our mission today is really to unpack the journey of these two connected souls, Victor Frankenstein and his creation. We'll look at their motives, their successes, and, well, their terrible failures, all through their own words. We're basically tracing how one really fateful decision just ripples outwards and affects so many lives.
And for this deep dive, we're using excerpts straight from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. We'll look at Robert Walton's letters first, and then dig into Victor Frankenstein's own story.
Okay, let's get into it. So Robert Walton, he's a sea captain writing to his sister Margaret. He's on this incredible, maybe slightly crazy voyage towards the North Pole. He's dreaming big, finding a passage, figuring out magnetism, reaching this land surpassing in wonders and in beauty, untouched land.
And you really see the spirit of the age there, that drive for exploration and discovery. But underneath it all, in those letters, there's this deep loneliness. He says he longs for a friend, specifically a man who could sympathize with me, whose eyes would reply to mine. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What happens when that kind of ambition meets, well, total isolation?
It's a powerful question right from page one. So Walton's out there, driven, alone, and then things get weird. His crew spots this huge figure on a dog sledge just speeding across the ice. Strange. Then, a few days later, they rescue someone else from an ice floe, near death. And that's our man, Victor Frankenstein.
Right. And when they ask Victor where he's going, he just says he's on a voyage of discovery towards the Northern Pole, echoing Walton's own quest, really.
Wow.
And Walton feels this immediate connection. He calls Victor a noble creature, feels immense sympathy for his obvious grief. He genuinely thinks, this is it, I've found him, the friend he desperately wanted, a brother of his heart, even though Victor is, mostly just melancholy and full of despair.
It's almost like a warning sign for Walton, isn't it? Seeing himself potentially reflected in Victor.
Exactly. It sets the whole stage. So Victor starts to recover, and eventually he agrees to tell Walton his story, his strange and harrowing story. He even says he hopes it'll make Walton dash the cup from your lips if he shares a similar kind of madness.
So the flashback begins. Victor talks about his childhood in Geneva. Pretty privileged, it sounds like. Respected father, loving mother Caroline Beaufort.
Yeah, and there's that interesting detail about his mother being rescued from poverty by his father. This sort of charitable act leads to their marriage. She's described as this fair exotic, sheltered by the gardener. Maybe that gives Victor some early ideas about, protection or even creation.
Interesting thought. They were devoted parents, he says. His childhood was full of enjoyment. But then Elizabeth Lavenza arrives. Adopted. Victor calls her heaven sent, a pretty present. And then that really striking phrase, mine to protect, love, and cherish.
It's a bit chilling, isn't it? That possessiveness. It hints at this need for control that we see later.
Definitely. And you see the contrast between his feelings for Elizabeth, this calm sort of spiritual love, and his friendship with Henry Clerval.
Right. Clerval's the adventurous one into chivalry and human virtue. But Victor, he was different. He says he was smitten with the thirst for knowledge, wanted to learn the secrets of heaven and earth.
Not just curious, but obsessed.
Utterly obsessed. And it starts young. He's 13, finds these books by Cornelius Agrippa, Paracelsus.
The old alchemists.
Exactly. His father dismisses them as sad trash.
Which naturally makes him want to read them even more.
Of course. Then there's that thunderstorm incident. Sees lightning just obliterate a tree, reduces it to thin ribbons of wood. That image sticks with him. It cements his fascination with natural philosophy, the forces of nature, even though he briefly gets sidetracked by mathematics.
But the pull towards those secrets is too strong, so he heads off to university at Ingolstadt. That's the big turning point, right?
Absolutely pivotal. He initially dislikes one professor, Kremp, calls him a little squat man. But then he meets Professor Waldman, and Waldman is key. He actually praises the old alchemist, says they laid the foundations for modern science. He encourages Victor, tells him he has talent.
He makes it all seem possible.
Yes, makes the most abstruse inquiries clear and facile. Victor says that day decided his future destiny.
No, looking back then. He dives in, 2 years just fly by, studying chemistry, natural philosophy, even makes some breakthroughs, gets respect. But then he gets fixated on the human body, the structure of the human frame, and that huge, dangerous question, whence did the principle of life proceed?
And that leads him down a very dark path. Anatomy, decay, spending days and nights in vaults and charnel houses. He's not just studying, he's completely consumed, driven by what he calls an almost supernatural enthusiasm.
Wow.
And then it happens. The sudden light. He discovers how to infuse life into an inanimate body.
The secret itself.
The secret itself. But almost in the same breath, he warns Walton, and us really, how dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge. He basically says ignorance is bliss compared to aspiring beyond human limits.
He knows it's dangerous, even as he does it. And the result, it's immediate horror.
Total horror. 2 years he labors, driven by this ardor that far exceeded moderation, expecting beauty.
Gates.
A wretch. Yellow skin, watery eyes, black lips. Not beautiful. Monstrous. The dream just evaporates. Breathless horror and disgust filled my heart.
He runs away, literally runs from his own creation.
Flees the lab, has terrible nightmares, one where Elizabeth turns into his dead mother's corpse. He wakes up,
And the creature is there.
standing over him, staring. He bolts downstairs, terrified.
What an immediate, profound rejection.
Absolutely. And the creature becomes this terrible secret, this hideous guest. His friend Henry Clerval arrives, which is a brief comfort, reminds him of home, happiness.
But the secret is still there, festering.
Yes. Victor starts having fits, raving, calling himself a murderer. You see the psychological damage immediately. The hidden cost of that ambition is already immense.
And it doesn't stay hidden long. The consequences start spilling out. He gets a letter from Elizabeth.
Devastating news. His youngest brother, William, has been murdered back near Geneva.
Oh, no.
And suspicion falls on Justine Moritz, a family servant they all loved. Because a locket, a miniature portrait of Victor's mother that Elizabeth gave William, was found in her pocket.
Justine, the servant they took in, who was like family.
The very same. Described as having such kindliness of heart, a great favorite. The accusation just throws the family into chaos. It's unthinkable.
But Victor knows, doesn't he?
Instantly. He realizes it must have been his creature. He actually saw it, lurking near the murder spot during a storm as he was returning to Geneva.
So why doesn't he say anything?
Fear. Pure fear. He thinks they'll call him a madman. How could he possibly explain? So he stays silent, watches this wretched mockery of justice play out in agony.
God, that's awful. The evidence against her must have been thin.
Entirely circumstantial. She was out all night, seemed confused, the locket. But it's enough. Elizabeth pleads for her, passionately defends her character.
It doesn't work.
It's ignored. And this is where you see fear, maybe Victor's pride, his self-preservation, just completely override any sense of justice. His silence condemns her.
So Justine, under pressure, she confesses, even though she's innocent.
She does confess publicly, likely hoping for mercy or maybe just broken by the pressure. But she tells Elizabeth privately, I am entirely innocent.
And she's executed.
She perishes on the scaffold, another victim. And Victor's just consumed by guilt. He calls himself the cause, the true murderer. He unleashed this depraved wretch on the world.
The weight of that must have been crushing.
Unbearable. He says he's plunged into a hell of intense tortures. He tries to find peace in nature, goes up into the Alps, looking for something sublime to distract him.
And instead of peace, he finds...
The creature, face to face, on a glacier near Montever.
Wow. What's Victor's reaction?
Pure rage. He wants to kill it immediately. Mortal combat. But the creature, it stops him, it speaks, and it pleads.
What does it say?
It's incredibly articulate. I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel. It blames Victor for its misery. Everywhere I see bliss, from which I alone am irrevocably excluded. And then that famous line, I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous.
That's powerful. It completely reframes things. It puts the blame squarely back on Victor.
It forces you to ask, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Who made the monster? Was it born evil, or did rejection, Victor's rejection, society's rejection, make it what it became?
So what does it want?
A companion. A female. One as deformed and horrible as myself, it argues, wouldn't reject it. It promises that if Victor complies, they'll disappear forever, leave Europe, harm no one else.
And Victor agrees. After everything.
Reluctantly. Partly out of curiosity, partly maybe a flicker of compassion, and partly, crucially, because he starts to feel the duties of a creator towards his creature.
The responsibility he ran away from.
Exactly. So he agrees. on the condition they leave forever.
And then the creature tells its own story, which must be harrowing.
Oh, it is. It confirms Victor's fears, but adds so much complexity. It describes its first moments, confusion, hunger, cold, its first encounters with people.
Which go badly, I assume.
Disastrously. A shepherd shrieked loudly, villagers threw stones, beat it. Immediate violent rejection just based on its appearance.
So it has to hide.
Yes, it finds refuge in this little shed, a hovel, attached to a cottage. And from there, unseen, it observes the family living inside the DeLacy's. An old blind man, his son Felix, his daughter Agatha. And it watches them, learns from them, sees their kindness to each other, even in poverty.
It learns language this way.
Yes, primarily by listening to them teach Safi, this young Arabian woman who joins them later. It listens to their conversations, their lessons, and it finds books. Plutarch's Lives, Sorrows of Werther, Paradise Lost. It learns about history, society, virtue, vice, love, family.
Yeah.
Everything is missing.
It's getting an education in humanity while being totally excluded from it.
Precisely. It even tries to connect, in a way. Secretly helps the family, gathers firewood, clears snow. They notice, call it their good spirit, never knowing who it is.
But this learning must be painful, too.
Incredibly painful.
Right.
It learns about the DeLacy's own sad history, how they were ruined helping Safi's treacherous father. It sees their love, Felix's love for Safi, and then it sees itself, catches its reflection in a pool of water.
And
it's terrified, filled with bitterest sensations of despondence and mortification. It realizes how hideous it looks compared to the perfect forms of the cottagers. As it says, its increase of knowledge only discovered more clearly what a wretched outcast I was. Learning makes its isolation even sharper.
that's heartbreaking. So it decides to try and make contact.
Yes, desperately. It approaches the old man DeLacy when he's alone, hoping his blindness will mean he won't judge its appearance.
At calculated risk?
A huge risk.
Oh.
And it almost works. They talk for a bit, but then the others return. Felix, Agatha, Safi.
And they see him.
They see him, and their reaction is instant horror. Agatha faints, Safi runs, and Felix attacks him violently, drives him away.
The dream is shattered.
Completely. That hope for acceptance, gone. And that rejection turns into rage. It burns down their cottage after they flee.
It's a turning point towards
A
darkness.
major one.
Yeah.
And it gets worse. It travels, tries to do a good deed, saves a drowning girl, only to be shot by the man with her.
Shot for saving someone.
Yes. That's the reward of my benevolence, as it puts it. And that's when it vows eternal hatred and vengeance to all mankind.
Which leads it directly to William.
Directly. It finds William in the woods near Geneva, realizes he's a Frankenstein, and kills him in a deliberate act of revenge against Victor. Then it finds Justine asleep and plants the locket on her.
Framing her. Coldly.
Coldly, declaring chillingly, I too can create desolation.
Wow. So Victor hears all this, and he still has to make the female.
He's committed now, but he finds the work utterly repellent, horrible and irksome. He starts to have serious second thoughts.
The ethical dilemma hits him hard.
Extremely hard. What if she's worse than the first one? What if she refuses the deal? What if they have children, a race of devils? The potential consequences are terrifying. Global catastrophe, he imagines.
You can't go through with it.
He can't. He realizes the wickedness of my promise. He looks at the half-finished female creature and destroys it, tears it apart.
Oh, wow. How does the creature react? It must have been watching.
It was. It appears at the window, sees the destruction. Its reaction is pure fury. It confronts Victor and delivers that chilling promise. I shall be with you on your wedding night.
And Victor thinks it means him. That the creature will kill him on his wedding night.
Exactly. A fatal misunderstanding. He doesn't realize the threat is aimed at Elizabeth. So he gets rid of the remains of the female creature, dumps them at sea,
And gets into more trouble.
gets blown off course, lands in Ireland, and is immediately arrested
For what?
for murder. A body has washed ashore, and it's Henry Clerval,
No. His best friend.
his dearest friend, strangled, just like William. Victor sees the body, the marks on the neck, and just collapses. Fits, fever, raving for 2 months that he's the murderer of William, Justine, and now Henry.
This is just relentless tragedy. How does he get cleared?
Lack of concrete evidence linking him directly. He was elsewhere when the body was found. But the horror stays with him. His father comes to get him, tries to comfort him, and they start talking about his marriage to Elizabeth. His father thinks it will help him recover.
And Victor agrees, even with that threat hanging over him.
He agrees, still convinced the creature's coming for him on the wedding night. He feels he has to face it, perhaps destroy it, before he can find any peace. It's a tragic, fatalistic decision based on that misunderstanding.
So the wedding happens, and on the wedding night,
He's on edge, armed, searching the inn where they're staying. He tells Elizabeth to wait, steps out briefly to patrol the hallways, listening for the creature.
and then he hears it.
He hears her shrill and dreadful scream.
Oh, God.
He rushes back, finds her dead, strangled. The murderous mark of the fiend's grasp was on her neck.
Elizabeth is more than sister, gone.
That's the final blow for Victor. It breaks him utterly. His father hears the news and dies soon after, basically from grief.
Everything is lost.
Everything. And Victor's grief transforms into pure obsessive vengeance, eternal revenge. That's all he has left.
It shows how that initial act, that ambition unchecked by responsibility, just consumes everything. Love, family, friendship, gone.
Completely devoured, which brings the story full circle back to the Arctic.
Right. Victor chasing the creature across the ice, driven solely by revenge. That's when Walton finds him. Near death, delirious, still talking about his accursed origin, his hideous enemy.
And Victor's last words to Walton are that warning, aren't they? Avoid ambition. Even the seemingly innocent ambition of scientific discovery. He regrets not destroying the creature earlier, seeing it now as his duty.
A duty he recognized far too late. But wait, the story doesn't quite end with Victor's death.
No, there's one final, crucial scene. Walton goes back to the cabin where Victor's body lies and finds the creature there, mourning.
The creature is mourning Victor.
Yes, expressing incredible remorse and misery, even over the body of its enemy, its creator. It talks about its own journey, how rejection turned it from something capable of love into a malignant devil. It describes its own suffering as superior even to Victor's because it was so utterly alone and universally hated.
So what happens to it?
It tells Walton its plan. It's going to travel to the most northern extremity of the globe, build its own funeral pyre, and destroy itself, burn itself to ashes, to ensure no part of it remains so no one can ever use its remains to create another being like it.
Wow. Ensuring its own extinction.
Polluted by crimes and torn by the bitterest remorse, where can I find rest but in death, it asks. Then it leaps from the ship onto an ice raft and is carried away into the darkness and distance. Gone.
So there you have it, a really deep dive into Frankenstein. It's so much more than just a monster story, isn't it? It's about isolation, rejection, what happens when ambition goes unchecked.
Absolutely. It leaves you thinking about so many things. The creator's responsibility, definitely. The impact of how we treat those who are different, that cycle of revenge, and how easily good intentions, maybe, can lead to truly monstrous outcomes if empathy and that sense of duty are missing.
What really stands out to you, thinking about it now? For me, it's maybe how the creature ends up reflecting humanity's own capacity for cruelty, born from fear and rejection.
That's a powerful point. And maybe the question that leaves us with, especially today as we keep pushing boundaries, is this. How do we make sure our own drive for knowledge, for progress, is always, always balanced with compassion, with a real understanding of the ethical weight? How do we stop our own creations, whatever they may be, from becoming the source of our undoing?